My name is Margaret Ann Windsor. I have to use the name of Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married a Childers. I was kidnapped in 41, born in 39, and brought from Buckingham Palace. I was kidnapped from there. And I've laid all this out over and over and over on YouTube and Facebook and some on Google Plus. This morning, in the past, I've told about writing about mind control murders and done in patterns, so that some of them can certainly be proven, and I'll leave it at that. The Virginia Tech mass shooting, but this goes way back, and I wonder how many murders have been committed using mind control that people, only the ones that did it, could know. These were deliberately done that I speak of, and Larry Flynn of Hustler magazine, I use that because he endorsed me in a campaign, and so everybody knows Larry Flynn of him, and that he was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Now then, maybe I should inject this here because this is what I was going to tell. I don't know, maybe it's been a week and a half now. Yeah, I would think so. I happened to be sitting outside. It was sunny, and I was trying to walk, and I sat down for a few minutes, and up drove. Wasn't a new one, but it had the well, it was a, what am I trying to say? A construction type truck, and had the thing on top. I believe I'm right, but anyway, the point being, it was from Gwinnett County, Georgia. I'm in Roanoke, Virginia. What in the heck is a contractor doing up here? They've got to go to Gwinnett County. Now then, I realized I could be set up because this is ongoing. But I saw the man. I sat there and watched him, and he pulled up in the room that I had rented, and some other stuff went on here, and I'm have to go to another room. And in the long run, this all looks bad for me, and nobody will listen. I mean, I'm under the threat now. I even either stay. I pay money for this, mine, or that they would. Well, I don't have to say that, do I? That it's not happening. That oh yes, it is. And the fact that well, I'm not even going to get into that. I want to finish this. You have to know what happened in Gwinnett County, okay? But first, I want to say that I saw the man get the bunch of stuff that looked like construction out of his back of his van. He took it in the side right beside the room I was in, and had moved a few, about 5 rooms down, just before then. And he went into, there's a back side and front side that I'm on to the motel I stay in. And he went to, there's a, what do you want to call it, a corridor in between the two sides that go in behind each one of them. And it's got where the vent is aired out. And you can also pump stuff through there. Anyway, I think it was that night that I started getting the fumes. So far this time I had been okay with the fumes. Hadn't gotten them, which surprised me because that's been used on me. I have an immune disorder, and believe me, it's not funny, that I'm allergic to chemicals, and when I'm around toxic fumes, my immune system attacks itself, and it does that by mass inflammation, and it attacks different organs of my body. And over a period of time, you can lose your kidneys, which at the moment is a part of what's going on. And I'm almost afraid to put this up. I really am. I cry out in pain in the injustice, and I'm very afraid to say anything. My doctor, after all these years, she's my doctor. She's prescribed the medication for inflammation to counteract the fumes, the inflammation that's caused. Well, it should have been, the reason for needing the medicine should have been addressed, but you don't dare say anything, okay, especially now. Suddenly she is depleted, not going to give me any more of the medicine because for inflammation, because that would cause my kidneys to fail. And I did ask her what made her suddenly withdraw the only medication I had for it. And she didn't say. So here I am, and my lung. Here's what I'm going to get to. Every night, they're doing construction back there. I don't know what all they do back there in between, but they've even knocked on. You can hear them knocking and all that, but the fumes are what kill me, and it's done at night. This is so they're working at night or something. So anyway, Gwinnett County, first of all, in all this patterns and stuff, you have to know background. Gwinnett County is where Larry Flint was shot when I was doing the book in Marietta, Georgia in 78, March of 78. I am not going to get into the other things that happened to me that are so sick and absurd and criminal that happened to me in Lawrenceville, Georgia, okay? So now they had to go to Gwinnett County to bring up a contractor and to do work here. If it was one time out of my life that this happened, I wouldn't say, well, yeah, I would, because I almost died last night. I wouldn't make anything out of Gwinnett County coming up here. But this is an ongoing thing to where I've paid my rent and I've been made to run because I would have died if I'd stayed with fumes. And by the way, they're doing a lot of contracting around here, road, highway work, all that. So it's bad enough just to have the fumes from the vehicles. Now here's where someone's going to come back at me and say, well, hey, lady, why don't you just leave and move to another place? And that's exactly what I heard Judge Judy say, okay, to somebody, but they weren't me, and their illness wasn't being used against them, and the government wasn't involved. They hadn't been kidnapped, and they weren't who I am. The political crimes being committed against me. So anyway, I'm just going to go to fast forward to last night. I mean, now then, my doctor has got me down to know I have a little cream I can put on my knees. You should see my knees from the hiking and trying to live on the trail. I had no food, starving, made homeless, and then chemicals used when I did get a place and pay. So I'm paying to be fumigated in poison air. Poison air. So I'm just going to fast forward because this is ongoing, and I put it up, and anybody could check it out that wanted to investigate any civil rights. I have none. NAACP didn't give a rat's. NOW, Barbara, Gloria Steinem didn't care. That makes sense, right? I can't get an attorney. So now, if I can get back to the Gwinnett County, I said that about Larry Flint was shot there. So it's like a timeline. So I'm going to leave it at that. There was something else I was going to put in there, but in trying to tell the whole mess, it's a little rough. Over the years, I've been made to run, and that's what Carl Barton, the Virginia state trooper retired, said, and I use his words, his wife's words, and he had been with her. He was up on the mountain a few years back. Well, it was '09. And I'd gone up there to try to get fresh air. And it makes you sound like you're paranoid or something if people don't want to hear it. And I always put up documents and things to support it. I'm not right now because I've put it all up there and it didn't do me any good either. So that night that I was up there, the retired state trooper, Virginia, and I don't mean him any harm. I know that he gave me their address and phone number and everything to use it, what she said. That during the night, somebody actually poured fuel in the middle of the night on my tent. And I came out of there so sick and had to sit up all night long outside at the picnic table. They brought me down to Affordable Corporate Suites over in off Starkey Road. And I stayed there and suffered through. It's owned by a Jewish man. I suffered through the. Everybody thinks, well, you got maids. It's housekeeping. They would come in. I was afraid to get out and try to walk because they come in and soak my bedding. They'd actually spray it with, I don't know what all they used. I really don't. But I would roll in the bed at night and just about die. I'd have to use money. I could barely pay the rent, and I'd have to wash it out to get it out, and they'd come right back and do it again. So it's a wonder I'm even alive. They finally raised the rent to where it was all the. It took my whole check that I get, so I had to move from there. And I did get a letter from me because everywhere I've gone, I've paid rent on time, every time, never been late. You do a background check on me, you're not even going to get my real name. I can't use it. You're going to get a pack of lies. Let me remind you, I'm a hostage. I'm not free to go back and forth. I've tried to leave to get away from what's going on here in Roanoke. Well, I had to move from Huntsville, from Atlanta, because of the mess, the laws being broken. So it doesn't do me any good. I've been run back here to Roanoke. Now then, somebody accused me of jumping around. Well, they haven't lived my life, and they happen to have a studio, and they can put things together in files and all that. I have none of that. I'm subject to being out the door any minute and so sick, and I'm going to go to last night now. If I didn't fill in the blanks on some of it, excuse me. I was watching the last few days. I watched the protests for women's rights, and I told about going to NOW. I've gone to everybody. I can't get an attorney, nothing. Not that they don't believe it, they do. They just don't want to become involved. And the media won't touch it. The Rockefellers and Rothschilds that kidnapped me, the global government, are part of my kidnapping, and then I'm putting stuff on Facebook and YouTube, and Facebook is owned by Zuckerman, who's a grandson of Rockefeller. They helped kidnap me, they did, that family. They control your banking and everything, your media. So now then, last night I watched, after I'd watched the films, I think it was on Sundance, about Mary Tyler Moore, who just died. So I watched that till it ended, and I turned it on the news, and they were, this is CNN, by the way, but all of them are like that, except Fox may not be quite part of the New World Order. But they were all bashing Trump about the ban on certain countries sending immigrants in. And there were some people with green cards that were stuck in the airports, and there were, I believe most of them were Muslim. I'm not sure. But I turned it on, and here all these airports are full of people protesting. They've got pictures of this Muslim woman up, and they talk about women's rights here. She had her hair covered up, and it looked like part of an American flag that she's using, and well, that they're using. These are protesters. And they're telling about all the attorneys that are gun-ho, the civil rights attorneys, well, I don't know that it was NAACP. I don't remember that I heard that, but I don't doubt it. Your civil rights organizations, all gun-ho, have come in now, and they've filed. There's a district judge up there that's filed to at least stop for a while the order that the president just put out about the immigration. So you've got all these attorneys converging out of everywhere, and all these years I couldn't get one. And it's still going on. And you talk about torture. They're telling Trump that they don't want torture. What in the hell do you think I have gone through? I saw there last night this one kid. Don't look so cute. He's of a, I guess he's I don't know. He's part of. Uh, he's either Hispanic or I don't think he's Hispanic. I think he was part of from being another country. His color is more brown, black hair. He's standing there, but he's dressed good. And he's got a sign that somebody obviously gave him, his young fella. And he said something about, what about if you didn't have your mother? I thought, little fella, somebody stuck that sign in your, and my kids have been deprived of their mother. I don't even know if my sons are alive. I only had 2 years with my mom, and I was kidnapped. Didn't say anything about a dad, but my dad is Edward VIII, who didn't marry Wallace Simpson. He married Claudia Ruth O'Keefe from Madison, Wisconsin. And you talk about lies that have been done. And I came, after watching that on TV, I lay down, and I know I've had a bad time. This is about 12:30 or 1 o'clock. That's ripped my guts out from the fumes that have been force-fed me. And I have to pay for rent, so I'm paying to get gassed and tortured and poisoned. Last night I woke up, and I know my lungs have been affected from it all, from the years of it, but I thought I was dying. It ripped through me, and pains. I had to get up, and it's cold, and where I'm at, I'm not too sure I'm that safe to open the door. And need I go further? I really thought last night I was going to die, and the damage done. And you talk about God bless America. I wish you would. He gave you everything, and you run amok, and look what you did to me. If you put me before the world, and you made a list of the crimes and the torture you've done to me personally,